It's good coke. Hello, folks. shintigercurl here, that dude in straw hat, bringing you yet another awesome video. It's Monday night. You know what that means? Time for some Raw. 1 week away from perhaps the most important Royal Rumble event of all time, as Roman Reigns puts his belt on the line for the first time in a Royal Rumble match. This will be the second time that the WWE that the world title will be put up for grabs in a Royal Rumble event. It's been more than 30 years since this has happened, and the last person who did it, well, he's in the Hall of Fame twice. So, what kind of show did we got? Got my notes. Let's get started. First up, Roman Reigns comes out. He says he wants a piece of the beast incarnate. This is considered to be a very bad idea because you do not call out Brock Lesnar unless you are suicidal or you have cancer and you just want to be put down humanely. Chris Jericho, of course, comes out and says that tonight on the highlight reel, he will have Brock Lesnar on his show. But he would also like to have Roman Reigns on the show, to have the quote-unquote 3 odds-on favorites to win the Royal Rumble all together. Then the League of Nations comes out. They have a good claim to any one of them winning the Royal Rumble, since 2 of them, Del Rio and Sheamus specifically, are former winners of that prestigious event. Which leads us into our first matchup of the night, Roman Reigns versus Rusev with Chris Jericho as special guest referee. This is a pretty okay match, nice little starter to get our appetites wet for the Rumble. And thanks to Chris Jericho's timely officiating of throwing out the League of Nations, Roman picks up the win. Next up, Divas action. Brie Bella versus Natalya, with the return of Paige. And somewhere Martin has just needed to change his pants because he loves him some Paige. Ivory goddess. But anyway, I literally went to the bathroom just to get a tinkle out, and when I came back, the match was over. This was literally the definition of a piss break. Sure, it's good enough to get Natalya back over with the fans, but still far too short for my taste. Next up, the Wyatt family, the Wyatt family, 3 members of the Wyatt family, I believe, Braun Strowman, Luke Harper, and Eric Rowan, versus the team of the Dudley Boys and Ryback. This is an okay match. Unfortunately, Ryback tends to suck the interesting out of whatever match he happens to be in. And it's not that he sucks, it's just that he's not very interesting. There's a lot to him other than the fact that he comes out with wanting to be fed a lot. Apparently, they don't feed him enough at craft services backstage. Next up, another throwaway match. Big Show versus Heath Slater of the Social Outcasts. I have to give up to these guys. They've certainly got balls. More balls than I've given them credit for. Heath, of course, goes down to the knockout punch. Big Show wins to try to make him seem like the odds-on favorite. He's been the odds-on favorite since he came to the WWE more than nearly 20 years ago, back during the Attitude Era. He's never won a Royal Rumble, unless you count that one where it involved The Rock and slow motion video and I don't know. But anyway, he goes around and he knocks out all the members of the Social Outcasts. I still call them the Jabberwockies. Next up, we have a nice little segment with Vince and Stephanie coming out to have a drawing to determine who will get the prestigious #1 spot in the Royal Rumble. As you know, only 2 men have ever won the Royal Rumble from the #1 spot. One being Shawn Michaels and the other being, well, we can't talk about him. Oh, wait a minute. They started mentioning him, so I guess we can. It was Chris Benoit. Yeah. So they hold a lottery with a nice little ball thing, and they keep trying. They keep opening up, and apparently, they do this 3 times, and for some reason, Roman Reigns gets picked all 3 times. What are the odds? Once again, that's a McMahon screwiness. You don't get that kind of screw job from just anyone. Dixie Carter, you wish you were just as a screwy boss as Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Next up, Becky teams up. Becky takes on Tamina of Team Bad. No Sasha Banks. I am sad face. This is a pretty good match. And showcased off some of Becky Lynch's skills as a champion, as a wrestler, what have you. Also out there tonight was her former best friend and the Divas champion, Charlotte, alongside her father, Ric Flair. Becky wins and cuts an intense promo. This is just what she needed. I like this feud, but unfortunately, Rick. I love you, but you're not helping your daughter. You don't need to be out there. Next up, tag team match. Dean, the Intercontinental Champion, Dean fucking Ambrose, and Kalisto versus the new United States Champion, Alberto Del Rio, and Sheamus. I say this, I know a lot of you are saying, but shintigercurl. Kalisto won the belt last week. Why are you calling Alberto Del Rio the new champion? Because he won it back on SmackDown. Booking, I don't know. This match would have been good, but it was turned great because Kevin Steen was on comms today, and he completely embarrassed Byron Saxton. Poor deluded bastard. He pretty much wrecked everyone at the commentary table. He was just that damn good. If we can get CM Punk back, I would enjoy him and Kevin Owens just trolling people, just trolling the commentators from their own table and just doing awesome shit. But yeah, this was a pretty competitive match. Very good, very close. All 4 of these guys know how to put on a good match. Because of some outside shenanigans, the League of Nations pick up the win, which sets things up for a couple of matches just announced. Dean Ambrose will be defending his Intercontinental title against Kevin Owens and yes, I did call him Kevin Steen earlier because he's starting to act more like Kevin Steen. I call him Kevin Owens just because, but he's really Kevin Steen. Actually, this is Kevin Steen versus Jon Moxley, and it's gonna get gully because they will be facing off against each other in a last man standing match. As for also, Kalisto and ADR will be having their rubber match at Royal Rumble for the United States title. They have not disappointed me yet, so I'm gonna look forward to this. Next up, the New Day have a funeral for one of their own as they mourn the loss of Xavier Woods' beloved trombone, Francesca. My heart goes out to you. Anyway, they decide this leads up into a vengeance match, pitting Big E versus Jey Uso. Very entertaining match, and thanks to some shenanigans, New Day wins, Francesca is avenged. And of course, since this is the week before week before the Royal Rumble, they often have the same tradition of the segment I like to call by the numbers, where they pretty much shoot a promo where they list off statistical standings of past Royal Rumbles, like how many have competed, how many Hall of Famers were in it, what numbers are the best. It's a lot of interesting little tidbits that you probably didn't know. We learn something new every year. And since Roman Reigns is in the number 1 position, he will have a big test ahead of him. I mean, like I've said, only 2 men have ever won the Rumble from that number 1 position. One being Shawn Michaels, the other being Chris Benoit. So, yeah, so not only and Roman Reigns still holds the record for the most eliminations in a single Rumble, being about 12, I think. Or was it 14? I can't remember. 12 or 14, but it's up there. So anyway, Roman has his work cut out for him. If he can do this, if he can win the Royal Rumble match, not only would he be the first, man, would be only the third person in history to win the Royal Rumble from the #1 position, but he'll be only the second person to win back-to-back Royal Rumbles. A distinction held by Stone Cold Steve Austin. Also to note, Stone Cold also has the record for the most Royal Rumble wins, 3. That's right, old Steve Austin has won that match 3 times. Yep. So I like by the numbers. I love it. Next up, we have Jobberfest 95 with Titus O'Neil, R-Truth, Mark Henry, and Neville versus The Ascension, Tyler Breeze, and Stardust. I wasn't really feeling this match, and at the end there was a major botch that I hope Matthew was watching, and it will probably make Botchamania. But anyway, the faces won. Moving on. Go to the main segment. Chris Jericho's highlight reel, where he plans to interview Brock Lesnar. Paul Heyman comes out, giving us a succulent ear fucking, as he does. Chris Jericho foolishly antagonizes him, and then Brock Lesnar comes out, hungry, ready, looking to destroy somebody. Then Roman Reigns comes out, and they get into the ring, and Brock eats a spear. But as he's eating a beatdown from Roman Reigns, the League of Nations comes out and starts handing Roman Reigns his ass. Brock Lesnar gets up, reminding himself that he is Brock fucking Lesnar, the one-man crime spree, the walking genocide, and decides to lay waste to the League of Nations. Then Roman eats another spear. Well, Roman gives another spear to Brock, which is looking pretty hellacious. You don't see that many hellacious spears anymore. Then the lights go out, and all of a sudden we got the Wyatt family. And they beat the crap out of Roman. Then they proceed to make the biggest fucking mistakes of their short, miserable careers by antagonizing Brock Lesnar and beating him up. You should have killed him, you dumbasses. Now he's just going to be like he's like a Saiyan. Beating him near death, and he is going to make a complete recovery, and he'll be 10 times more powerful by the time you see him next time. You fucked up, Brock. You fucked up, Bray. You fucked up. So yeah, that was Raw. My thoughts? Very boring Raw, to say the least. There were some high moments, nonetheless. Paul Heyman, of course, giving us that succulent ear sex that he does so well. Becky Lynch's promo against Charlotte and her father, and the New Day's funeral for Francesca, and that good old Vince McMahon screwing. But other than that, there was very little to keep my attention. I was having conversations on Facebook while most of this stuff was going down. But it's a go-home show. It could, as a Raw, it was average. As a go-home show, down there. Could have done better. But anyway, that's my video. You like what you see? Like, comment, subscribe below. Got any questions, comments, or just want to talk about this Raw or the upcoming Royal Rumble? Or very much so, share your predictions in the bottom of who you think is going to be in the Royal Rumble, or better yet, who you think is going to win. I will be sharing my predictions on this week's WrestleCast with Matty J and TWK of TWK Reviews. And so I'll be saving my predictions for this Friday or Saturday when the podcast drops. But anyway, all that other stuff, leave it below. I will get back to you. Supporting the channel is simple. Patreon is in the description. You know what to do. Hit me up on Twitter, Captain Luffy. Tip jar's up there. Do what you gotta do. So until next time, shintigercurl, that dude in the straw hat, saying goodnight, and Coke is good.